as it's found dinosaur fossils from about 145 million to 66 million years ago. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
What's the fastest way for you to get yourself up to date on the latest in news, sports, weather, and obituaries that costs you absolutely nothing? It's Your World Today. Serving Salem and Dent County now for over 20 years, Your World Today is 4 pages of information that will take you about 5 minutes to read, and they're available in over 30-plus locations in Salem and in Bunker. Your World Today. Pick one up every weekday. They're free. At the KSMO studios on this Wednesday morning, it's October 23rd, and we have Denver Ellis with us. This is a paid political ad for Mr. Denver Ellis, a write-in candidate on the ballot this year for presiding commissioner. And Denver, good to have you back.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm not as good as you are. I've been blessed, but you've been blessed with some bad luck on your technology side.
Oh, my gosh. I don't have any notes with me today, and technology has just not been my cup of tea for the last couple of days.
Well, as a matter of fact, even this morning we were trying to get the stream up and we had some technological issues. So you never know. It's every day's a new day, my friend.
It is. Absolutely. It's a new day.
Well, anyway, first off, congratulations on deciding to run as a write-in candidate for the presiding commissioner seat. We do appreciate your interest in our government. And why did you decide to do that?
Well, that's a great question because I've been asked that several times, and this is the first biggest format I've had to answer that question. So, when we first started this way back in February, I was educating myself and I was learning, and the more I learned, the more concerned I got. So I ran for the first position, and obviously that was
second district.
Correct. That was we did not complete our mission there. But then, things come to light more and more and more. We hit on the petition going into July. Mm-hmm. The first one went into vote on July to get the Senate Bill 19756 on the ballot, which we were successful doing that in August. That we had 600 plus signatures for that. And so, but it seemed like our presiding commissioner was not actually doing some of the things that we felt he should be doing in our communities. There's several of us that felt this way. He was not there for that vote when it was voted down. That's a very pivotal point for our community. Other commissioners throughout Missouri has already implemented this plan, mm-hmm. and we had to go through 2 ballots and a poll in the newspaper to get them to see the point that Denton County really wanted this. And still, it's still on the ballot. They still did not implement this plan. And as the leader of our community, I'd figured that he would want to look at the needs of the community and the wants and the direction that the community wanted to go, and he didn't do that. He failed to do that. And there's other things that's involved there as well, Stan, that we just don't feel like the leadership is there, and we want to change that leadership.
And it's totally understandable. Everybody has their own opinions about what they want to see. And it's not like that. Now, let's make it clear. It's not like this new law had to be done by the end of this year.
Absolutely.
for the senior discount on property taxes. However, people would like to see it implemented because if you wait another year, it's going to be the end of the next year, and it keeps getting put off if it's not implemented. Correct?
Well, absolutely, and it's just not that part there. There's other things that needs to be addressed in our community that's not been addressed in our community.
But I was just talking about that issue,
right? But I'm just saying that's just one of the main topics that's happened in this cycle is that people has brought it to their attention multiple times, and nothing's been done at this point. Well, now it's going to be done. It's going to be on the ballot on 5 November. But it took 2 petitions and a poll in the newspaper to get it there.
But that's anymore though, Denver. We all know that seems to be the process. You have to get some support behind you to get things done.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And but there's other issues that's within the community here. We have, I don't know when it was, a few months back. You might remember that there was a change over our 911 addressing system here in Denton County. It was taken from Healthy Denton Counties where it was setting at. Was home there for how many years was it home there for?
We had 10, 12, something like that.
So it was taken from there. And in my opinion, this is my opinion, as an impulse action, because it wasn't on the agenda. I was there that day when that happened. It wasn't on the agenda to change it. It just changed as an impulse. And it was supposed to go to our assessor's office. And now I don't think it's going there. I think it's kind of in limbo, maybe being talked about going down to the sheriff's department. So that's new budgeting we have to figure out. We got to figure out how to pay for it to go down there now. if that's where it lands.
Yeah, but the county always had the right a 6-month out in that contract.
Well, I'm not saying that they was wrong in what they did. I'm
Right.
saying it was an impulse without planning to do so.
And Bob, just letting you know. I mean,
Right.
those people don't think it was just snatched from them. No, the county, when they designed the contract, they always had that 6-month out to give everybody time
Right.
to adjust. The only difference with this one is, though, Denver, we're going from the 911 system when they came in and did the rural addressing system,
Right.
and everybody got new addresses, and that Denton County would then give you your rural address. Well, now they're going to the the next generation 911, the NG 911, which is going to be a lot more paperwork. It's going to have to be redone, and that's going to be almost like starting over in some parts of that system, which will be the responsibility of the new party.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And what expenses does that detail?
Couldn't tell
It's
you.
an unknown expense,
Yeah.
and right now there's not a budget item for that expense, and there's not even a home for that place to be. I think it has to be installed by the first of the year. Is that correct?
Well, the system will be in the sheriff's department. It'll go in the 911 system.
Right.
Okay. The other part's just going to be a laptop computer.
Right.
So where they keep the addresses and
Somebody's
things.
got to mandate.
But
and
somebody will
someone's
have to
gotta
man
that software.
yeah.
Someone's got to
Yes,
do
sir.
something. It's going to take a man or a woman somewhere to do that. So
Well, there'll be a learning process, obviously, and it would have been for Healthy Dent County as well.
Right.
Because it's just a brand new, this NG 911. I can't tell you enough about it. It will be implemented after the first of the year, but
Right.
they have to still go through this company. They have to upgrade things. They have to update some addresses. There's going to be a little bit more work involved with that, but the reports will have to be submitted to Jeff City, which is something currently they don't have to do.
right. Well, absolutely. I agree with that. But my point I was making there, it was an impulse decision and it wasn't planned. And now it's kind of in limbo for some people has talked about that out in the community. Some people has no idea about that out in the community. One of the things that I've ran across in the last couple of weeks during this process since I made this announcement was I've tried to get our current presiding commissioner to meet and address the public with me, and that's not happened. I've had responses from other people, but not necessarily from him. And people talks about that stuff. They're like, well, if he can't come and speak to the public about things that's going on when he's being challenged in a race, then how well does he represent us outside the courthouse up there, out of meetings and other places? And so, I mean, that's a concern of theirs, and I think that's a valid concern. We want to talk about budgeting and whatnot. We're going into that budget season.
Yes, we are.
Pardon me. And I've heard this through other people, so this is kind of a rumor type situation. I'm going to tell you right now, just be upfront about it right now. There's been talk that our presiding commissioner, after these next 2 years, he's not running for office again. And so at this point, it would almost make him a lame duck commissioner. And that's how I see that. I mean, so what's his incentive to go further? I don't think Dent County has 2 years before we can put somebody else in there. I think it's vital that we don't leave that gate open, that we take charge of what we're doing right now and try to continue on that path and not have that pause in 2 years. I mean, if there's no incentive for him to move on, then why be there?
So if elected through write-in candidates, you'd be seeking another term at the conclusion of this fill-in
if that
term.
would be the will of the people after that,
Right.
absolutely, yeah.
Right.
'Cause, I mean,
But you would intend to run again.
that would be my intent if people would want. I got a lot of sounding base out there, and it's a good sound base. Some people actually enjoy my company. Some of them doesn't really. They just tolerate my company, but they're honest with me, and I appreciate that value. I appreciate every opinion that those people bring to me, because if you don't listen to those other thoughts, whether they agree with you or not, especially if they don't agree with you, then you don't know where you're at. You kind of off on everybody this
Sure.
yes stuff, and you never hear the no words. So you don't know what the other side's thinking. So you got to have a balance.
And you have to adapt to those no's, because if they're bringing it up, somebody else could be bringing up something else as well. It opens up your eyes.
Absolutely. That's why I feel like it's very essential for this community to go back to a town hall type meeting of some sort. I feel like the community needs to come together and has a communal meeting at some point, once a quarter, once every 2 months, whatever it is. I think that it'd be essential that the commissioners go to that level of transparency where they do have a good sounding board of the community, because a lot of people can't make those meetings on Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah, 9 to noon is difficult for people who are working on an everyday basis, but I mean, but it is there, and maybe, but I honestly have not heard anybody really request the town hall meeting. A couple people have, but I mean, but if you really wanted it, I would love to have. I would love to have seen somebody come in on a commissioner meeting date and say, "Hey, can we have a town hall meeting?" I mean, and you bring up a good point, though. Just to get everybody up to date on what the issues are in the county. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. But then we have had that in the past, Denver, where not a lot of people have shown up.
Well, I understand that, and it may be just depends on what the situation is and what the issues are at the time of the interest that's involved.
That's true.
Because,
that's true.
I say that, and you're right. I've been up there to a lot of meetings, as you know. I've not heard anyone say that either. But I'm a talker. I go around talking to lots of people.
Yes, you are talking.
And people find me and they talk. But people will share things on a one-on-one basis that they won't share in public because of whatever reason they may have. But I will tell you, it's kind of sad that a lot of people has contacted me and said, "Hey, what makes you think you're going to be any different than what we've had for the past so many years? What makes you think you're going to do any different?" The answer to that is kind of difficult because I've never sat in that seat.
Sure.
So I can't say anything about the responsibilities. I've never been there. But there's some things I can assure people is that the difference that I would try to bring would be more community involvement and to be active as a community in fixing problems and not doing things, and I'm going to say this out loud, I guess, not doing things as impulsive like just pulling the 911 addressing system out of some place and not having a real future place for it to go or no budget intended. There was no planning for that. It just snapped.
And I can't say that it hadn't been discussed before that because I know that every year when they renew the contract, they usually talk about, are we happy with what's going on? So, usually when that does come up is in the month of November or December. So if there was any discussion, I don't remember any at that time. But, I mean, it doesn't mean I'm not at the commissioner meeting and neither are you. The whole 3
correct.
hours that they're there.
Well, I couldn't usually go there on Mondays because I was working,
Well, I mean, but you have 3 hours to cover, and if you're not there the whole time, it could have been brought up later in a meeting and just said, well, we'll need to check into it to make sure, what our responsibilities are.
We can lay that blanket down, but I was there that day and I saw the precursor to what happened that morning, and I'm not going to go over that right now, but I would say that that was a very impulsive action. That was, I seen the morning of that morning. So I will also say that, people in this community is kind of, I don't know, they appear to be beat down. They feel like that their voice absolutely doesn't matter. So when I was talking to people, they were like, "Hey, I'm not trying to offend you." When they was asking me about what are you going to do any different, but the community, the morale of this community is down. You have a lot of people that goes to work. They're hard workers. Denton County has some really, really good people. They got to travel. I travel 45 minutes each way to work. I don't know about everybody else, but there's a lot of people that travels outside this community, and they just feel like that they just haven't the time. They work, their family, the hustle, the bustle of life. They feel like they're not getting the information they need, and sometimes there's not a lot of information comes out of that court. There's not because there's nothing really happening in those meetings up there. But they feel like they're left out of the loop, and so maybe they're just wanting in the cycle. I'm not for sure but they just feel the morale's down, Stan.
Well, I can't argue that morale's not down. I think it's down countrywide, though. I mean, really, I think everybody's tired of hearing negativity.
I agree.
And we need to start uniting and getting things done in a positive direction. And hopefully, after the election, that can get done and get all the office holders to they can all sit down and get together, find out, and put a good strategy together for the future.
Absolutely. And, and I'll say this right here. I don't care. I mean, I care if I win or lose.
Sure.
But either way, I'm going to still pray for our community leaders here, the ones in the courthouse. We should always pray for our leadership, for guidance, and to do the best thing that they can for us and to represent us as best they can to keep us at a level plane. I don't care if it's county, state, federal-wide.
Sure.
You should always pray for your leaders, whether you agree with them or not. They're still your leaders, and they still are the voice of the people. They've been elected there. So we need to support them at least in that way.
Right. And there's an old adage, walk a mile in my shoes to see what it's like. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for people to understand. That there's a lot more responsibilities to all these jobs. I think you find out more about 2nd District Commissioner when you're running for that position, presiding commissioner. And, whether it be city government or whether it be state government, everybody has different responsibilities.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've learned this cycle here is when I was running for the 2nd District there, I traveled the state, and I got to know a lot of the state people that's running for office, and I made a pretty good network of a lot of different people. And I realized that I missed an opportunity back a few years ago whenever this come up. I could have ran for a seat then, and I really would have liked to have been able to work with our current state rep, Ron Copeland. I didn't get the opportunity to do that, and I've been there when things was exchanged in the commissioner's office, and I will tell you that I don't feel that he got the proper due diligence of our commissioner's office, and I think that he could have done more for our county had there been a better relationship there.
Very good. Well, you have about a minute left, Denver. You want to wrap it up with something? Sure.
So I have a meet and greet tomorrow evening at the Bank of Salem Courtesy Room up here. It starts at 6 o'clock. Everybody's invited to be there.
Okay.
And I just want everybody to know that I appreciate your support. There's been a tremendous amount of support for this run at this time. And when you go to vote, you just circle in that little oval there. You just darken in the oval, and you write in Denver Ellis as write-in candidate there for presiding commissioner of Dent County. And I assure you that we're going to do the very best that we can if elected to bring everything we can together for Dent County.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time and coming in and letting people know about your intention about on the write-in candidate, which is, I will say, very aggressive of you. I was impressed that you decided to do that, and we wish you the very best in the election coming up, and it's not that far away, November 5th.
Stan, to finish this up, I'll let you know, and others, I like staying at home, take care of the farm, and going to work and mind my own business. But at some point in time, you got to stand up and help your community if you can. And I'm not one to be told to sit down and shut up. I'm not that guy, and I'm also not the guy that's going to stand by and let something happen, whether I agree with you or not. If you're right,
sure,
you're right, and I'm going to stand up for those rights, and I'm going to stand up for you, and your voice will be heard at that level.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, spending some time with us. Again, this is a paid political interview with Denver Ellis, a write-in candidate for presiding commissioner, November 5th. Absentee ballots you can do now with no excuse. That started yesterday, so
right.
You're more than welcome to go to the courthouse.
Go there today.
You can
Circle
go there
that
today.
oval and write in Denver Ellis.
Well, there you go. Or you can wait till November 5th and vote it the same way to go to your polling location, though, at that time.
Right.
Make sure the polls open at 6 and go to 7 at night. And again, make sure you
Stan, you forgot to ask me one thing.
Okay.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Ask me if I'm going to vote myself in a raise.
You're going to vote yourself in a raise?
I'm glad you asked that, Stan. No, I am absolutely not voting myself in a raise.
Okay. Thanks, Denver. Appreciate that. Anyway, I want to remind everybody, 6 in the morning till 7 at night, and do take a photo ID. You do need to bring a photo ID to vote. We want to make sure everybody remembers to do that. And if you have to change your address because maybe you've moved within the county or just moved to the county, make sure you get that registration at the courthouse done by November 4th. Don't wait till the 5th. They need to have the books and the polls ready to go by the 5th, so make sure you do that by November 4th. And the clerk's office will be open November the 2nd from 8 in the morning till noon for absentee voting. So,
well, that's nice.
You got a little chance to do it on Saturday morning if you can't get up there during the day, during the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Let your voice be heard and go out and vote for sure.
Denver, appreciate you coming in, spending some time with us on KSMO. You're going to pay political ad by Denver Ellis, write-in candidate for presiding committee.